So I would like to do the work on my brothers. I have three brothers,
Okay,
and the
great.
situation is one of them calls and says that all three of them have decided to come visit me at once. And I have a feeling of dread.
Okay.
And I think, I don't want them to all come at once. I don't want the three of them together to come visit me. And it's like electrifying.
Okay. Okay. Great stressful thought there. Let's just jump in on it, right? I don't want the three of them to come visit at once. So, is that true?
Yes.
And can you absolutely know it's true? You don't want the three of them to come visit at once.
No.
So, how do you react? What happens when you get this information that they've decided to come visit you at once and you're thinking, I don't want that? How do you react?
Well, I'm like split. I'm on the phone and I'm trying to maintain composure and not expose my hand of how I really feel. And then the other part of me is having all these like dreadful thoughts of what it would be like to have all three of them here. And
What are some of those images you see?
um like the three of them being bigger than life and feel like they're taking over my house and my world. Um like they're they're three against one. Like it's a they're a unit and I'm a separate identity. Um like I feel um like attacked in a strange way. Like images
Mm-hmm.
of
Mm-hmm.
them judging me and um the old "I don't fit in" story comes up,
Mm-hmm.
and it's really heavy and constricting in my chest. And I'm shocked. Like it never occurred to me that they would ever all come together. I never asked them
Yeah.
to come together. Like one lives in Florida, two live in Connecticut, and I live in Arkansas. So it's 24 hours for anybody to get here. So I certainly never
Mm-hmm.
thought that they would come together. Yeah, I don't know where it came
What are the
from.
image? Yeah. So while we're thinking of images, what other images from the past come to mind when you think that they're that they all, that I don't want the three of them to come to visit at once?
Visions of being at their houses, um, the four of us together, and how I feel like I want to drink alcohol. Like I don't want to be. I'm so uncomfortable, and I'm so out of my element, and like I can't keep up with them and their humor and their brain power and their um. So it's it's visions of not feeling comfortable, safe, part of it when the four of us are together.
Mhm. Do you notice anything in your body when you think, I don't want the three of them to come visit at once?
I feel really nervous. I feel shaky, kind of nervous, like at risk. Like my peace is at stake here. My calmness, my joy, like all the good stuff is at risk. Like they have the power to come and suck it out.
Yep. Yep.
Like there's no place for me in my, like there'll be no place for me in my own house. Like,
So how do you treat them, both the one brother on the phone as well as how you treat them in your mind since that news, when you think, I don't want them to come all at once?
well, at first I just said, wow. Like, and then my mind started spinning, and he sounded like this was such a gift that they were giving me, like to do this. Like,
Hmm.
that I was like, I started asking questions like, for how long? And he laughed and he said, oh, a month. And he laughed. And I was like, no, no. I mean, I'm like, he was like a couple days. And I'm like, oh, okay. And I'm just like, my head's scrambling. Like I want to ask all these questions like, why? Who came up with this idea? Like, what makes you think this is a good idea? Like, but I'm being, like, oh, like, have you looked into flights? It's not easy to get here. Like,
Right, throwing the obstacles out in front. Yeah, yeah.
like, um, it's just, yeah, it's just throws me off, and I'm treating them like they're 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 they have no concept how I feel. Like it's like this is another example of them making a decision to come visit me without saying, how would that be? Do you have enough room at your house? Like they're just
Mhm.
assuming that I have multiple bedrooms for everybody. Like, I don't know. It's like, it's, so I'm like going through all the logistics of, God, we got a camp bed, and then I'm like, they're all older than me. It's like, I got a futon. It's like, who's going to want to sleep on the futon? And I'm like, all these logistical things are coming up, and it's just like nerve wracking.
Yeah, yeah. So all of this, what you've described, is how you react when you think, I don't want the three of them to come visit at once. The mind just starts getting really churned up when this thought comes in. So go back to that phone call, and your brother's saying that we've all three decided to come. Who would you be? Just imagine. You might have to even pretend. But who would you be if you didn't think, I don't want them to all come visit at once? Who would you be?
Well, I mean, I can see that it's a big effort for them to do this. It really isn't easy to get here where I live. um, it's a journey for them, and I think, boy, if they just wanted to be together, there's a lot of other places they could go. I mean, they don't need to come here to like they must want to come here because they say they're doing it,
Mhm.
and so they must want to.
What else do you see when you look at your brothers without the thought, I don't want them to all come and visit at once?
What do I see without the thought? That it is doable to, to have them here, like physically. It is doable.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I can't get too excited yet, but I could get to, I could get to like, it might not be a total disaster. It might be
Right.
doable.
Do those future images change at all when you're not thinking, I don't want the three of them to come visit all at once?
It's a little bit calmer. It's a little bit less electric without the thought.
Mm-hmm. And that's what we're noticing here. It doesn't have to be like dramatic change or anything. We're just noticing what's the effect of this thought. And what I'm hearing is that it's a little less electric, a little less charged um, without the thought. So we're comparing, like, what's it like to have that phone call and be not wanting them to come, and versus not even saying that you want them to come, but who would you be without not wanting them to come when you're hearing their plans?
I could take it more like a compliment, like take it more like they care, like they want to come see me. They want to see, like, where is Arkansas? It's like they want to come and see where this
Mm-hmm.
is that I moved to.
Yeah. So that's the difference, right? With the thought, I don't want them to come here and visit all at once. It's this feeling threatened almost, right? Like you said, they're attacking me almost.
Yeah.
And without the thought, the mind's seeing around the edges of that to the complement that must be there for them to consider going all this way. So, what we're noticing is this thought closes the mind down a little bit, and without the thought, it opens it up a little bit. That's the effect that this thought has. I don't want, it's like push away, and it's like I can only see the worst that could happen. There's a feeling of threat. Without the thought, I don't want, I still don't know what's going to happen. It's still vulnerable, but a little more open to what's going on for them. So that's the power of a thought, the effect of the thought. There's just no. So can you try finding a turnaround and seeing if there's any truth in even an opposite of that thought? So the thought is, I don't want the three of them to come visit all at once.
So I do want the three of them to come together because they really
Okay.
like each other and they can entertain each other. I mean, it takes the pressure
Great.
off of me to be alone with each one of them, in a separate visit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so you've
So
now
in that
reduced
sense,
it from 3 visits to 1,
right.
and they
And
entertain each other. Okay.
and if because the three of them are coming together, they're not bringing their partners. So that's nicer for me to just have my brothers without their partners. They wouldn't
Yeah.
just come without their partners on their own. So it is nicer to just, given the option of 3 visits with spouses or 1 visit with the 3 of them, I just have to say I take the 1 with the 3 of them.
Cool perspective. Yeah. 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 Yeah.
So I do want the 3 of them to
Keep
come
going.
all at once. Um, well, it's 1 trip to the airport and back.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So, um, um, I don't want me to.
Well, before you go on there, let's just see, are there any other advantages even of them coming to visit all at once? Is there anything, how does it serve you that they would come all at once, in addition to what you've said already? How could it be a good thing?
Well, what just popped into my head was um, there's a lot of side conversations in our family, like people talking about each other to each other, and the 3 of them
Mm-hmm.
will be here. So they won't have a um how to say, like, there will be one common experience. So we won't hear
Mm-hmm.
each individual's talking to the other one about me
Right.
and my
Yeah,
husband in my
I
house.
went
And
out.
it's like
Right.
that that review process that happens in our family a lot, of everybody saying what they saw, heard, thought, like everybody's opinion being separate. It'll be, it'll happen while they're here,
Mm-hmm.
so there won't be
Yeah,
as much
with a common
cross.
experience.
Was that?
And with a common experience, right? They're
Yes, with a
based
common
on a common,
experience.
Yeah. Instead of like the game of telephone, like I saw this and then that gets referred to the next person and by the end it has a totally different story of what happened. Yeah. Okay. So any other advantages for you or even for them that they all come visit at once?
Oh, well, my brother who lives in Florida is the least healthiest of us all. He has Parkinson's. And so the other two have decided to go get him in Florida and then fly from Florida to here so that he doesn't, so that
Hmm.
he, um, just so that he doesn't have to travel alone. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
so um, it makes it definitely better for everybody that we don't have to worry about him traveling alone, and his partner is probably would never come because of her health. So she'd have to drive, she wouldn't be able to fly. So
Mm.
so the advantage is that they're making the effort to go to Florida to pick him up to in the airport kind of thing, and then fly here. So it makes it a lot easier for him to not have to travel
Yeah.
alone
Good
and
point.
to be able to come, because I don't think he'd be able to come otherwise. He'd have to
Yeah.
drive, and it's a really long 24-hour drive. So
Long drive. Yeah.
yeah.
So what let's go all the way as far as we can with this. Like, is there anything positive in this for you, them all coming together to visit you?
If they don't swallow me up and spit me out, I don't know. It's like it's not that like the vortex thing. Um, well, it's gonna have me do a lot of work between now and then.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Because I realize that I don't want them to
Not a bad thing.
come with all the thoughts that I have, negative thoughts that I have about them and this, and so
Mm-hmm.
it is gonna help me.
Nothing like a visit to make me clean up everything, including my thinking, right? So yeah,
Yes.
yeah. And think of the time that you're there and they're all who they are, right? They like each other. They're kind of funny and, smart. And with all of that, can you find anything that would be enjoyable for you with them all being there?
It's fun for me to talk about, the past, in the sense of our family, and our
Mm-hmm.
parents who both have passed. Um, so it's a sense of family that I haven't experienced in a really long time, like a group. Like
Yeah,
these are the
like the
only other
nuclear
three people
family.
on earth who have had some common experiences of a house that we lived in and the parents that we had. And
Yeah.
So there's some
So,
fun in that shared experience and talking about it that is
yeah.
unique to us, to the four of us.
And especially, they're not even spouses there other than your own spouse, right? So that you can really enjoy some of those memories with that concentrated group of the four of you. So
Right.
both things can be there, right? There's the vulnerability of, oh my gosh, like all that this brings up and the vulnerability of that and the fears, all of which can be worked, you're right. And balancing that, there can be some, and this is where the turnaround's kind of pointing, is keep an eye out for those things that could be actually enjoyable to you, not just your brother's taking over. And you may find, in fact, it can be kind of a living turnaround to keep an eye out for what you're liking about the idea, not just what scares you about the idea. And both may be there. So you were going and I stopped you, but let's go to another turnaround. So original statement is, I don't want the three of them to come visit at once. What's another way of turning that around?
I don't want me to go visit the three of them. I don't know how to really turn that around to myself.
Yeah, we have to kind of think about this, what makes sense. Technically we could say, I don't want me to go visit them at once or to go visit them. Well, that could be. So compare you going to visit them versus them coming to visit you. Um, is that helpful in any way to compare those two?
Um, well, it's in one way it's easier because it's less travel for me.
Yeah. Right,
Um,
right. So
I think they'll be
that is a
like good
gift, right?
guests. I think they'll be good guests. I mean, I I
It's possible. Mm-hmm.
I think they're like well trained. Like, I think,
Mm-hmm.
um,
But at least they're coming to you,
right, they're
right?
coming to me, yes. And they're coming without their spouses.
Yeah.
Like, the more I think about that, that really is a big plus because of how the dynamics change.
Big plus. Yeah. It's not often you get just your brothers and sisters, just in one, just alone almost. It's almost like going time traveling and going back to when you're kids. Because always spouses are around, right? Which are fine, but it's a different dynamic.
Right. And
So if you went to visit them, it would be it would be the old way, right? Of spouses being there and all of
yes,
that. Plus you have to travel.
right.
Okay, and what else?
Um, I really love it here. Um, so without thinking, without thoughts about them in the past, it's it's much more comfortable for me to stay here than to go and be in their house where I'm, more cautious about putting a water bottle down on the counter or, putting something out of place. Like I don't have to worry about that being in somebody else's house and,
Yeah.
How they live and their level of organization and cleanliness and all that. And, and I can eat whenever I want to eat. It's my house, I don't have to wait to be served or offered something, so that's a
Love
big
it.
plus.
Yeah. Yeah. So the more
And I
we
get to
sit in
sleep in my
it, the
own bed with my
more,
own pillow. Right?
yeah, I love it. These are not small things when you're dealing with 3 brothers. You get to sleep in your own bed, you get to
Yes.
eat your own food, you get to be in a place that you love, and you get to have your husband around for support as well.
Yes.
So it's nice to do this comparison between you visiting them versus them visiting you. And it starts to look like, okay, there are some clear advantages to them coming here.
Yes.
So let's just play with one last turnaround before we go. The statement is, I don't want the 3 of them to come visit at once. So maybe it's something like, I don't want the 3 of me to come visit all at once. And I don't know what that means, but see if we can play with it a little bit. Like the 3 of me, or the 3 of them in my mind to come visit all at once. Like, can you play with that in some way and see if there's anything that makes sense for you?
Well, I can see that the 3 of them in my mind are very different individuals. And I have very different relationships and topics of conversation with each of it's like 3 different one-on-ones.
Mm-hmm.
And if it's like I'm gonna have to be one person. When the 3 of them are here, which I know
Oh
I'm
my
very
goodness.
different with each one of them one-on-one. Like,
Mm-hmm.
so it's going to be good for me to really be me. I'm not going to get to be 3 different people. It's like I'm going to
Yeah.
have to come up with the real me. Like not the me for that brother, the me for that brother, and the me for that brother, what I think works for
Wow.
them. Because I won't be able to
Wow.
maintain that. You can do it on the phone,
Exactly.
but you can't do it when it would be like crazy making to try to do that while they're all
Yeah, so this
here.
is huge. This is what an opportunity to dig deeper and find what is the real you that can be presented to the 3 of them together instead of just one by one, each one a different version of yourself. Very cool.
Yeah. Wendy, you want to say something?
I just can't help but think that the 3 of them got together and described you, and each one of them said, "No, that's not what she's like." And they're coming to see which one you really are.
Yeah, yeah. And they're coming to your place to see where you really live and how you really live. It's an interesting idea. Almost like they want to know
Oh,
who you are.
it warms my heart to think how much they must love you to want that to do that. Sorry, not to give you anything else in that, but yeah, I just
Yeah, thank you.
that's what
Thank you.
strikes me. Yeah.
Yeah. But what a cool turnaround. I wasn't expecting that, right? I don't want the 3 of me to come visit all at once. Then I have to be like me with this brother, and me with this brother, all in the same house, then it's like crazy. I can just be whatever version of me really is closest to me with all three of them. You know? Like they're a unit. I think you said that. So I can be the me of myself with them as a unit. And that is a challenge sometimes, right? I'm the same way. I'm really good one-on-one with different people, and I show different parts of myself to different people. And then okay, who am I actually? Who am I? And to even ask that question and to do even just whatever is my best in that direction could be a huge growing from the whole process.
Well, and
All right. So thank
the
you
other
for your
thing that
work.
comes up is that I have stories about each one of them, and I don't want all my past stories about each of them to come and affect this visit in a negative way.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So it's like
Yeah, I don't.
I have different versions of them than reality. And I don't want
Yeah.
those past, like, you broke my baton when I was 7 years old and you still never apologized, like, like I don't want that stupid stuff to come up. It's like that they would, and I could just
Right.
see myself saying that to my brother, and him looking at me like I had 5 heads, and being like, "What baton? Like, what are you talking about?"
Right.
Like
Right.
I've held on to
Right.
stuff with each one of them that they have no memory of whatsoever.
Yeah. Yeah. So I don't want me to bring those versions of them with me to this meeting because that overly complicates it and makes it stressful. But you can bring those versions of them to a Judge Your Neighbor worksheet and work through those stories. He broke my baton or whatever they are, and that's you've got a month, I think you said. You can be doing a new worksheet every day, cleaning up all those past things so that when they come, there's less of those stories in the room with the four of you.
Well, actually, they're not coming until October. So I've got all this
Oh
time
my,
to
you
worry about it or work
right.
on it. I
You've
got
got
2
months
choices. I can either work on it or
or
worry
work.
about
You
it.
have a choice. That's it. That's it. That's it. But to my mind, worries are there just to call out and say, "Hey, here's something to work on," and I just listen to those worries, and I write them down and I question them, and little by little, the the stories become less, and then when they come, I'm just dealing with more of the reality of them. So yeah, I mean, you have time to just clean up your whole childhood in a few months. Maybe that's what this is for. I love it.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for your work. Really, really nice
Thank you.
to see this, and thank you for just I can feel the vulnerability that you bring in that to even share it and to work through it, and yeah, I appreciate it very much. So thank you.